Welcome. I have a question here from one of our viewers. Granville, is there a way to validate information that is placed into the database? Yes, there is. The way they do it on Ruby, on Rails, is through the user model. If you know SQL, and you know that sometimes you want to validate actually on the database itself. But Ruby on Rails does it for you. Ruby on Rails does a lot of the SQL lifting for you. And remember, if you want to deal with your database after it's already been created, go ahead and always think about using your user class or your user model to deal with the database. The last time what we did was we made a users table, which represents our model. And our model is called user without the S. And every time the user of our website goes to our website, we want him to put in his name and his email and press send, and then we capture his information. And each time that he puts a row into our database, into our table, that becomes a user model. Okay? But what right now is preventing him from just putting send and having put nil into the database, which is nothing. The way we want to have the user ensure that something is put into the fields is by typing in validates, and then the name of the field in question that we want to validate, which is the name, and the code is presence. Just think, we need it to be there. True. Validates email presence true. And right there. Okay, and the same thing that I did right here. This is what it looks like in your user model class. So always think validates. What are we validating? We're validating the name in the database table, and we want the presence to be true, or the presence to actually have something in there, and that's the way to think about it. You have something in the table itself. And once again, I want to reiterate, whenever you're thinking about changing something in your database, changing something in your table, either making a new column, doing some validations, you always have to think, okay, how does Ruby on Rails do it? Does it do it by SQL? Yes, it does, but it helps you with the SQL. And the way Ruby on Rails helps you with your database is that you don't have to write the SQL. You just use the code for Ruby on Rails inside the user model, because the user model is associated with your table and your database. Hope that explains a little bit more about Ruby on Rails. And I'm trying to make these videos a little shorter so you can just select the topic that you want, and then it will help you out and it will just refresh your memory. All right, thank you very much. And that was my explanation on the validates code in Ruby on Rails and how that helps you generate the SQL to make sure that the user puts in some information into the field in pseudo form and then actually send it to your database. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.